kinds of new beginnings occur in alleys. And alley life is a major component of this city's development. And behind me, and we're actually running out of time, which is interesting. I'm always running out of time. Yeah, we got about 20 more minutes before we get back that way. Because what we're going to do is we're going to cross here and then go back. We're going to continue our tour. But I wanted to particularly talk about this side of the city from 9th Street over. Very important to Benito's Point. This would be working class Washington back here. 7th Street goes all the way down to the wharf. You take 7th Street right on down. You can catch the 70 bus. Anybody been on the 70 bus? Really important bus. Benito's definitely been on 70. Very important bus. The bus goes all the way down to the wharf, all the way up to Georgia Avenue at the top of where Maryland is. If you take that street straight on up, you'll run into Philadelphia. Hello? It's a straight shot from the wharf to Philadelphia through Baltimore. Go right on up. This was the major corridor of Washington, D.C., the commerce of Washington, D.C. The goods would come in, goods and people would come in through 7th Street, through the wharf, and go up 7th Street. That's why Howard University is where it is today, because Howard University was built where General Howard was, but General Howard was very clear. He was very clear. He knew that this was becoming a black area, and he wanted to build his school at that location. 7th Street, if you've read Weary Blues by Langston Hughes, he talks about 7th Street. If you read Jean Toomer's Cain, the Harlem Renaissance novel, he talks about 7th Street. Exactly what Benita said. Langston Hughes in Weary Blues says, I write my poetry like it was the songs on 7th Street. Like it was the songs on 7th Street. Because 7th Street was the place where it was very hip. It's where music was happening, and storefront churches, and gospel, and this, and that, and jazz, and drugs, and prostitution, and numbers running, and everything else, good, bad, and the ugly, was happening on 7th Street. The Howard Theater, if you look straight ahead, where you see the big brick building facing us, the brown one, that's the Dunbar Theater, Dunbar Apartments and Theater. Behind it, to the left, you can see just the beginnings, just the very top of the Howard Theater. That's 7th and T. 7th and T was the major corner of black cultural life of Washington, D.C. Not 14th and U, 7th and T. They're right now. I'm on the board, the renovation board. It should be in about 2 years it'll be renovated. It's going to be a little bit smaller theater, but it's going to be multi-use. It's going to be bookstores, cafe, theater, training studios, musical studio, all sorts of stuff. Right on the corner there to the right is going to be the United Negro College Fund headquarters. They're moving to here. That's at the corner of 7th and S, United Negro College Fund, right there. This whole area where the flea market is all going to be condos. Unfortunately, they have to move the flea market somewhere. They must survive because everybody loves that flea market. It's really a good place. But that whole area is going to be condos. But at the corner of 7th and T, something very important happened in the summer of 1919. Anybody know what the summer of 1919 is referred to in black history? The summer of 1919. What is it referred to? What? What?
He said Black Sunday.
Black Summer. It's not Black Summer. Close. It sounds like dead. It's dead. One syllable.
Summer?
What?
Red
Summer. Black Star again. Very good. Why would it be called the Red Summer of 1919? War ended in 1918, and the Red Summer is 1919. Why? And what happened at 7th and T that's so important? That has to do with the Harlem Renaissance. Harlem Renaissance starts in 1919? Am I on film?
Yeah.
Am I on film?
Tell us.
So black GIs come back. 400,000 black people are fighting in World War I, and they come back to America, and they figure out that maybe now we might be equal. And so they wear their uniforms proudly up and down the streets of American cities. But guess what? This is the height of Jim Crow. This is the height of Jim Crow, Ku Klux Klan strength. Black people are being lynched all over the South. Black people are being lynched just a few miles away from here on the eastern shore of Maryland because they're proud African Americans. They come back wearing their uniforms, and white people go crazy, and they create 26 white riots throughout America, killing black people in the summer of 1919, called the Red Summer for the blood that was spilled.
And what happened at T Street?
And I'm going to get there in a second. And as a result, on July 18, 1919, white Marines down at the Marine Corps barracks in Southeast come marauding up 7th Street and 9th Street, starting killing black people. Officially, the Washington Post reports that 11 African Americans are killed by white Marines on July 18th and 19th of 1919. The Washington Bee newspaper, the black newspaper, reports as high as 32 black people killed in the summer riots of 1919. That's just in D.C. Now this is happening all over the country. 26 cities explode, primarily because African American men are wearing their uniforms. But at the corner of 7th and T, African American men go home and get their guns, and they create a barricade across 7th Street. And as the white Marines come up, they start shooting back. Several white Marines are killed. So they all run away. They run back down to their barracks. The riot is over. Alan Locke, who lives around the corner of 1326 R Street, is a Howard University philosophy professor, and he writes to his dear friend W. Du Bois in New York, and he says in a letter to him, "I have seen them coming home from fighting, and I've seen them coming home fighting." This, my friend, is the new Negro, he says to W. Du Bois. Du Bois writes back to him and saying, "The new Negro, that is exactly right. You must take that and you must write on that." Alan Locke turns around, he writes the essay called The New Negro, and that becomes the Harlem Renaissance anthem. In 1925, he publishes the New Negro anthology, and that is in fact the anthem of the Harlem Renaissance. Starts right here at 7th and T as a result of the fight back of the Red Summer of 1919. Alan Locke, living around the corner of 13th and R. Down the street on R Street, down the street here, 3 blocks away, is 1538 9th Street, the home of Carter G. Woodson. Carter G. Woodson is the founder, quote unquote, of Black History Week. Why is it Black History Week? Thank you. Birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. But Carter G. Woodson really is not the founder of Black History, Black Negro Week. The real founder is, little known factoid of Black history, Mary Church Terrell. The educator lives in LaDroit Park, then moves over to 16th and S when her and her husband, Robert Terrell, the judge, becomes more wealthy, as they tend to be, moves over there. But she says she's teaching at the M Street School, Dunbar High School, and she's teaching, and Dr. Woodson is teaching there. Half of M Street High School's professors are PhDs. Dr. Woodson's PhD from Harvard. She says to Dr. Woodson one day, "You know what we need? We need a Black History Week so we can teach our young people about Black history." That was her idea. Dr. Woodson takes it and runs with it, puts it in the Negro Journal. It becomes Black History Week until the 1960s, when the Howard University students rebel again and say, "We don't want Black History Week, we want Black History Month." And that's how Black History Month comes about in 1967 as a result of Howard students. But it all happening right here is what I'm trying to say. You getting it? It's not happening in Harlem. It's not happening in Detroit. No disrespect to New Orleans and Atlanta. I love New Orleans and Atlanta. But it's all happening here. And it's not all happening here, it's just a lot of it's happening here. And you are sitting in the most rich and extensive African American history in the world, right here in Washington, D.C., and right up and down this street. Follow me.